What?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Networking with Nathaniel. This is episode 17. I have the pleasure of being here with James Zieger, a person that I met through Carlin. Oddly enough, you came highly recommended from her. You are part of a growing company, no pun intended, called the Growth Co. Who's out, you guys are out there trying to help people realize their dreams and put systems and processes in place to do such. James is a happily married man, one kid. I don't know any other plans for the second. We might get into that, maybe not. But he's also a real estate investor as well. It's a pleasure having you here, man. Thanks for joining me. How you doing? Whoa, we lost you.
Yeah.
Well, you have your Christmas tree set up.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We got to finish getting it decorated. Um, yeah, no, so ironically enough, this is the second connection that was made for me via Carlin.
Mm.
Uh, Carlin was actually the reason that I am with the Growth Co right now. Um, and the irony behind that is her and my wife met before we were even in sub two in
Oh, wow.
like a mom's Facebook group, and they were just kind of chit chatting in there, and then things just kind of evolved from that. So,
Yeah.
a little interesting history on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Tell me, what is it that you're doing with the Growth Co? Like, what's kind of keeping you busy on a day-to-day basis there?
So, I am the integrator for the Growth Co, and I handle integration, everything system related.
Okay. Yeah, so you're the
So,
back end guy.
yes,
I forget Jesse and Carlin are kind of the Pace Morby of the company, and you're the guy that has all everything on your shoulders, making sure it's getting done right.
yes, and we've actually we put together such a phenomenal team, um, for all portions of what's actually going on with the Growth Co. It's definitely been a challenge because this is the biggest thing that I've taken on.
Mm.
Um, and as the name implies, we're just going to continue to keep growing, and that's what's been fun and interesting about it.
Yeah, it's been I'm part of the Facebook group, so it's fun watching what you guys are kind of putting out there on the horizon and just like being a little bit of a part of it. Um,
Are you getting our emails too?
oh, you know what? I'm not on the email list, James. So
I'm gonna have to get you on the email list,
yeah, you
brother.
might have to. Yeah, I'll give it to you after this. So you can toss me in there. It's an old email, so maybe a little bit inappropriate for the Zoom today. But
We'll be the only ones to see it, so it's
yeah,
okay.
exactly. Tell me about how long have you been in sub two now?
A little over a year and a half now. I
Okay,
think it's May will be 2 years. Um,
that's funny.
that I've,
That's about
that
when
I've
I
been in sub
started too.
two.
Yeah. What have you been doing as far as real estate goes, outside of the Growth Co?
So I'm switching gears right now. Um, I My wife and I started doing it. So we were looking at a different program before sub two.
Hmm.
I knew nothing about real estate at the time. I come from a culinary background, so
Okay.
kitchen space where I was at. Things in life just weren't going the way that we saw and
Hmm.
what we, thought it would be at that point. And she's like, you got to check this out. So when I first saw it, to me, I was really closed minded. I was like, this too good to be true.
Hmm.
I don't, think anything could come of that. So we did drive for dollars, and the very first day, no script, nothing. We just went, got addresses, found phone numbers online, and I'm just making calls.
Yeah.
And then the very next day, I spoke with somebody from Sub Two, and we ended up joining the mentorship. From then till I want to say like 6 months ago, I was basically trying to juggle and run a one man show, from the wholesaling aspect.
Hmm.
The big, I'm going to start with wholesaling and then eventually move into the buy and holds and maybe do a couple flips. Um, so I've definitely learned along the way, like that one man show is definitely not the way to go. So I backed away from real estate, went back into W-2. What I was doing seemed kind of promising. First, like two checks were really good, especially getting back into the W-2 space. And then it toned back from there. And I'm like, can't be doing this again. So right as I went to get back into the real estate, um, that was when I was put in contact with Jesse.
Okay.
Uh, we spoke a couple times, and then it turned into where we're at right now. And I still wanted real estate to keep going. And a lot of this, it's weird because it seems like the universe, states what the universe wants to state.
Yeah.
And I had somebody call me off of one of my bandit signs who went through a program. Things weren't that great in that program, not sub two. Um, he was having issues with his business partner at the time. We had a couple conversations, and now he's basically my lead generator, and we're working on getting him a little bit more comfortable with closing so
Mhm.
that we can bring him up, and bring more people on for the lead generation. And then we're going to take that, and I basically with him want to do what Jesse and Chris James are doing. Um, Him and I will end up having that wholesale company that we built out, where we started foundation. We can fire ourselves and we can reinvest those funds.
Yeah, that's awesome. I there's a couple things that I want to unpack here. Um, because you mentioned that with the Growth Co, you're the integrator, but it sounds like on the real estate side, you're kind of the visionary, or I guess you're just wearing all the hats, but in order for you to be able to lock up deals by yourself, you got to be on the phones talking to people, and that's typically not the
Yeah,
integrated strong suit.
that's where I was, and that was my issue. I'm really good at talking to people, really good at building rapport, not the greatest closer
Okay.
by far.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where so Carlin and I have in the past, her husband, myself, and my wife were part of a team that we went to put together. The This is the first. Uh, Pace had an elephant challenge where he paid for a month of he paid the setup fee and for the first month of having a VA through Star Virtual.
Okay.
And yeah, you had to have a team of 10 people or more. So we decided to put a team of couples together so that we had five couples, but it was 10 people. We were going to split five ways instead of 10 ways because we were couples. So that ended up falling apart. Carlin and I were doing a lot of the work. People were backing out. Um, and I never really chose an avatar for myself.
Okay.
Integrations was something that I landed on. It was a skill that I had. I never used. I never thought I'd be able to monetize off of it.
Mm.
So it was always in the back of my mind. I wanted to be a closer and do the closing. Oh, there's a little one.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's got a
and
half day
then
today. I learned that right before the call.
I learned it
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. If that says anything about myself and how busy
Yeah.
things have been. um, so
Allison
sorry,
wants to know where she can watch this.
I think it's a lot.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, sorry to bring that back in. I never chose an avatar for myself.
Yeah.
So integration
Okay.
wasn't the
Okay.
main focus. It wasn't until the Growth Co that I realized like I'm a lot stronger with integrations than even I thought with myself. And
Mm.
then having the support of my wife, having the support of Jesse, Carlin, and all them, really allowed me to allow myself to shine a little bit more in that space.
Yeah.
So I still have that visionary type on the real estate side, but I am doing the integrations for that, and I'm doing less on the phones with people, less trying to get them actually closed, and more worried about setting our structure up, having somebody else handle the rest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. It sounds like that the people, Carlin and Chris and Jesse have been able to empower you to use the skill that you didn't even necessarily know you had. It's funny, as you were saying that, I thought back to I play basketball every morning at Wednesday morning at this YMCA, and I shot terribly in my first game yesterday, but we ended up winning, and my teammates were just like, "Hey, keep shooting." And it just like they empower you to go out and do your thing. And so it's a special situation that you find yourself in. It sounds like with three high level individuals that are putting you kind of in your driver's seat to do what you do, and they trust you to make the integrations happen and everything going smoothly. Because you guys are growing the growth no pun intended again. um, what
You
would
can't
you
help but have the
say
pun intended with it.
what would you say that the future holds for you, like 3 to 6 months from now, as far as real estate goes? Are you still wholesaling? Are you buying? Like, what's that look like?
Still dealing with the wholesaling.
Okay.
Um, I I haven't put too much of an emphasis on what the future is going to be. I have the idea.
Mm.
And this young gentleman and I that are dealing with that section of it, we have this vision. And right now we're just figuring out what we're gonna do right now to get to that vision. Um, I want to say 6 months to a year from now, we would prefer to be at a point where it is a wholesale operation and company, and then we can take a step back from doing the day to day, but actually be
Right.
investing those funds.
Yeah. It's easier said than done, but it
Yeah,
is it's not impossible by any means.
no,
And it sounds like you've got a good hustling partner on the other side of this thing that's gonna help out a lot. Um,
yeah. And we
yeah.
want to be fair to the people that we bring into it too. Like we don't want to be uh, like cheap, I guess,
Mm,
to say we want to make sure that the people that we bring in, it's not just we're just hiring VAs. We want to bring other entrepreneurs in and give them a chance to actually grow and learn while they're doing it, and give them a space that they can stick with. They can continue to grow. If they go their separate ways, then we'll be at the point where we've scaled then that we'll move the next person up and we'll bring somebody in to fill that position. And
yeah.
then it'll be ever evolving from there.
Yeah. I love that. Where are you guys primarily wholesaling, by the way?
The New England market.
Okay. Um, that is not an area that I'm familiar with. I have,
It's a big market. We've
yeah.
got Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Vermont.
Oh, Connecticut is Gerald Norton's stomping ground if you're familiar with the SEO side of things.
No,
No,
not.
okay. I did a I did an SEO program a few years back, and he is incredible with getting your website credible and ranked on Google. And he like owns the Connecticut market as far as like cash buyers goes
No
online.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't sound like you're competing
It
with him
might
in
be
that
somebody I'm
respect.
gonna have a conversation with, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. It might be. He comes highly recommended. It's a lot of work, but it's definitely recommended. Um, I have a couple questions for you, just like a little bit more fun ones, maybe not so fun, depending on your answers, I guess. We talked about these a little bit before, so I hope they're not putting you too on the spot, but what's the most exciting thing that you've done lately, James?
Oh man. Not to put too much of an emphasis around it, but I think the most exciting thing that I've done recently is having that chance and connecting with Jesse and Carlin
Mm,
and with the growth co and what's going on there.
yeah.
Again, that's one of those things that since I've been connected with that, it's really been pushing me, and not in a bad way either.
It doesn't seem like it's in a bad way. It seems like it's pushing you to find your integrator side as well as pushing you on the real estate side of things to kind of grow yourself out of the business like you're talking about in 6 to 12 months. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Are there any like takeaways that you have from them that you'd like to share with the our small audience here? Put
Be
you on the spot,
intentional.
see.
Yeah. Just, you know, be intentional.
Mm.
And I don't know if you actually caught I was on one of the TGIF podcasts
Oh no.
um, on Jesse's YouTube. We actually did an integrator Zoom, not Zoom, integrator podcast. Sorry. Um, same thing that I said in there is one of the biggest things that changed my life was one of the very first conversation, actually the very first conversation I ever had with Jesse.
Mm.
And it's weird because he did say something to me that other people have said, but just something about it coming from him, that impact like really hit home. And that day, I did exactly what he said.
Mm.
I turned my things around, and I was a little bit more intentional with what I was doing and not just throwing myself out there all over the place. And here I am today. It,
Yeah, it's incredible. My mind, when you say being intentional, goes so many different places, and you may be able to hear him. This is a virtual background. The Oh no, he just ended up over here. He just started walking. The 1 year old. By the time that I spend with them is during the day, I don't get a whole lot. I'm on the phones doing stuff real estate wise, but 10 minutes here. Okay, just like this is my 10 minutes with them. Be intentional with my time with them. I was just putting the older one, the almost 3 year old, down before this call, and he heard the phone ringing out here, the work phone, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, phone's ringing." I'm like, "Dude, I'm with you right now. Like, this is us time. We're reading a book before you go down for a nap. I don't even care about the phone at all." Um, but yeah, it's just like it's pretty incredible what you can accomplish when you're intentional with your time and intentional with your thoughts and actions and stuff. So that's pretty powerful stuff.
Oh
I
yeah,
have.
and as
Oh,
you've noticed, you're a dad. It is something that is a little difficult to actually juggle, trying to be an entrepreneur, be in business,
yeah,
for yourself, but also have the kids, have the wife, try to have outside that outside life. It's a little different from working a W-2, where with a W-2 you can have work and home separate, but when you're working for yourself, especially starting out,
right.
it's hard to find that line and
Yep.
draw those lines because you're
Yeah,
working from home.
yeah, yeah. Like it used to be, you you pick up your bag at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever, 7:30 in the morning. You leave and you don't come back till 5, 6 o'clock at night. But you can just drop that work at work, and you can come home and just be present, or at least ideally, hopefully you don't bring the
Right.
work baggage home. But yeah, I mean, this we're just in this blurred space right now, and probably for the foreseeable, forever at this point, people are going to work more and more from home. It's this blurred line where you got to be able to switch gears on a dime and say, no, now I'm dad, or now I'm mom, or now I'm husband. Um, so
And
it's
that's what we help. That's what we help with, and
yeah.
not to you know advertise or anything. But
No,
yeah,
this
I
is what
mean
we're here for. Yeah.
that's what I love about what we're doing is
Yeah.
because we are helping people with that process.
Yeah. Let
Um,
me before we move
amazing.
on to the next question, if somebody wanted to become a part of the Growth Co. or just learn more about the Growth Co., how do we accomplish that?
So I mean, if they wanted to, they could reach out to myself. They could reach out to Carlin.
Mhm.
They could reach out to Jesse.
Okay.
We do have our Facebook group as well, for the Growth Co. Um, I can actually probably put it, if you're okay with it, I can, put the link right in the comments,
Yeah,
to this
I'm
one.
gonna I'll put the link in the description of this video for anybody that's interested. I'll also add, as long as you're comfortable with it, I already know that Carlin is. I'll
Yep.
put links directly to your Facebook profiles so you guys can just click right on that and be able to message them. That is a request for everybody out there. Message
No,
before you
I'm
go.
totally fine with that.
Yeah.
The only thing that I asked is if you're gonna send me a friend request,
Yeah.
please send me
Yeah.
a message.
That's what I was
You
gonna
will
do.
probably sit there with the other like 200
Yeah.
people that are in my friend request
Yeah.
right now.
Don't just send friend requests, people. Don't just send friend requests. Send a message, and then maybe you guys can become friends later. But an unsolicited friend request is going to just get shuffled down the line, and it's never going to get answered. I know James is that way. I'm that way as well. Um, we do. This is a little bit maybe of a deeper question, James, but once once the curtains are closed on your time here on this earth, you're gone and you're up in heaven or whatever, whatever you believe. What do you want to be remembered for on this earth, from the people's lives that you touched?
I want to be remembered for being a part of that thing that changed things for people that have made their lives better. Um, and that goes deep for a couple reasons. And another point that gets drawn to again, if you end up watching that podcast, I kind of touch on it a little bit there. Part of it is selfish,
Mm.
and the rest of it is selfless. But that selfish portion of it kind of leads it to be selfless. Um, that feeling of self gratification, being a part of something that has literally transformed somebody's life is it's beyond measure.
Yeah, I I can see how you're attributing that to being selfish. Um, but the selfless part of it is lifting other people up and empowering them to grab their dreams and make them realities, right?
Yeah, being that go giver, um, and just like I said, being a part of that. It's one thing when you transform your own life, you change things around in your own life, but when you're able to do that on a bigger scale, as me personally, I don't think there's any better feeling.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm like, you're part of it. You're definitely part of it. You guys are doing some pretty cool things from what I'm seeing. Do you have any besides the TGIF podcast? Do you have any podcasts, any documentaries, any books, anything like that that you like that you might recommend to other integrators, investors, people trying to grow and get better, anything like that?
I don't off the top of my head at the moment, if
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Um, and at least on the integration side, there are some things that I do have in the drawing board stages right now, for something big for that.
Okay.
And I might even trace back to the growth co because
Yeah.
there might be a portion there. Um, but I mean, everything else is I don't personally have any recommendations. I'm just now getting into reading.
Really?
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do the real estate side of it, or I mean even a business owner in general, I would highly recommend reading Rocket Fuel.
Mm,
Um, it's intense. It's not that long of a read, but it is very intense.
yeah.
Um, and don't go with the audio version. Go with the physical copy because there are things that you will miss.
Okay. So maybe see, I listened to it, so I know
Yeah,
that what the heck is his name?
that's me. I'm listening.
Yeah,
Art of War.
the $100 million leads guy. What the heck is his name? He recommends reading and listening at the same time. I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, I'm sure you know him, but Hormozy, Alex Hormozy.
Alex Ramosi, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I heard that from him. You're activating multiple parts of your brain that way, so you end up retaining more because you're reading and listening at the same time. So you're like you're reading it in your own voice and hearing it from somebody else's voice. I thought that was interesting. I never thought that I would do that. For me, it doesn't check the box. I either want to read or I'm on the go doing something, and that's my opportunity to listen, you know. Like
Yeah.
I don't
No, I
just
get you
yeah,
100%
you don't want
there.
to be reading while you're driving and listening. Yeah, it's not a good idea. Well, it was a pleasure having you, James. Any parting? You've dropped a lot of it, um, cool little tips and stuff here. Do you have any parting things for maybe somebody just getting started in real estate?
And honestly, I would say, don't give up. There's going to be a lot of frustrations along the way. There's going to be a lot of highs. There's going to be a lot of lows. You'd be surprised where you can end up. And this could go for whether you're new to real estate, whether you're new to entrepreneurship in general, or maybe you don't want to leave the W-2 because you have something enjoyable and maybe you want to do something on the side.
Mm.
There is opportunity everywhere, literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not always notice it at once, but the best thing that you can do for yourself is to keep an eye on that opportunity, keep an open mind, ask the questions that need to be asked, but keep an open mind and don't throw anything out the window.
Yeah. I love that, keeping the open mind. You mentioned early on that when you first got introduced to the sub two, you were very closed-minded, or not sub two, but real estate. You were very closed-minded about it being even feasible, but you ended up, for some reason, pushing forward and taking action anyway. And then, holy moly, look where you are a year and a
Happy
half
wife
later.
is happy life, man.
Yeah,
That's the
right. You
way
just,
to
okay,
do
there's your reason. Yeah.
it.
That's a pretty good reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it was a pleasure having you, man. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day and, away from the Growth Co. and away from your little one on a half day, on his half school day to be here with me. It's a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to continuing to know you as you continue to grow with the Growth Co. and beyond.
you as well, brother. And thank you again for, the invite. Thank you for your time as well. And I definitely look forward to having some more conversations with you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Maybe we'll have you on for episode 77.
All right.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. Take care, brother.